Hi all of you, I'm Shabbir from Edukemy, and the question I'm trying to address today for the interview is why IAS? Why do you want to become a part of civil services, and why do you want to become a part of bureaucracy? Now, if I think about this question, I think this should have been the easiest question. This should have been the most comfortable question. एक ऐसा सवाल है जिसका आंसर आप सबको पता होना चाहिए था. But unfortunately, this is the trickiest question. ये क्वेश्चन सबसे ज्यादा परेशान करता है हम लोगों को. This question probably upsets and troubles many students as to what they can answer when they're asked about why IAS, why IPS, why bureaucracy, why civil services. The range of answers possible are, I think, this 5-6 answers. One is, I want to work for the development of the country. Elaborate on that a bit. I want to give back to society, which has given me a lot. Elaborate on that. It has a lot of diverse range of work, and I want to be part of that exciting opportunities. Elaborate on that. I am inspired by some of the very inspiring civil servants who have brought a change in the country, who have decided the course, who have decided the policies. So I want to be one of them. You can talk about that. You can also relate to some incident maybe that inspired you. Apart from this, I do not see too many answers possible. So it comes down to saying all the nice words and the positive words. Yet, why does this answer or why does this question trouble us a lot? Now, that's because understand that anything that you say, anything that you speak, anything that you communicate has two parts to it. Number one is the words, the expressions, the specific terms that you use. The second part is the commitment that comes along with these words, the sense of honesty that comes with these words, the integrity which is part of these words, your authenticity that should have been reflected in those words. The problem is not what words are you using. The challenge is, do you sound honest when you say it? Do you sound sincere when you say it? Does it come from deep within you or not? That is where the difference lies. So when students ask me, sir, what do I say? When I'm asked why IAS, the answer invariably is sit down and look deep within. Sit down and introspect. Ask yourself and bring it down to as much fundamental level of thinking you can go to justify what inspires you. Because see, this examination requires lot of efforts. It requires lot of commitment. It requires you to prepare again and again, come back despite failures. So the board is very curious as to what motivates you, what inspires you, what drives you, what propels you into getting into this type of an ordeal in preparation, committing yourself to this kind of a schedule, and ultimately becoming one of them. What is it that inspires you to leave and ignore all other opportunities and commit yourself for the kind of life you have been living for the last 2, 3, 4 years? So what we want to see is the sincerity level, the commitment level. To give an example, an analogy, when you like somebody, boy or a girl, the most obvious statement that you want to communicate is, I love you. Now, I love you does not have the same effect when it is said by everybody. Just because somebody says I love you does not mean you'll enter into a relationship. This word comes with some commitment. It comes with some amount of sincerity. This comes with a lot of emotions. It comes with some amount of authenticity. That is why even if you know what to say, most of us are not convinced about how to say it. With what type of emotions you must add so that the words sound very sincere. Why IAS has no easy answer. Why IAS, why IPS, or why IFS is not for us and the teachers to train you on. All we can say is sit and think about it. Often, even while you are not giving the interview examination, sit down and dwell deep into yourself to ask yourself what motivates you. One general suggestion to all of you is, when you want to answer why IAS, make sure you don't give a long story. I've seen students who talk about a story about how once while walking down the street with their grandparents or parents. They saw some incident and they saw some police officer do something. They saw some BDO or collector do something. Somebody came to the school and that inspired. That's okay. It's not wrong. Maybe it's true. But to start the story from there and keep talking for 5 minutes to convince the board is the waste of time. Nobody wants to listen to a long personal life story. Another suggestion to all of you is, please try avoiding the cliched answer, the most convenient answer. Why IAS? Because it is my childhood dream. This childhood dream sounds very naive. It sounds too simplistic. It sounds like you have not grown out of your teenager mindset or your school mindset. Think of this. You are in a panel where you have been questioned at the level of whether you can guide and lead the decision-making process for the country's development. And if you trivialize the answer as my childhood dream, it does not cut too much of ice. Yes, it should sound sincere. It should sound deep. It should come with something more concrete. And in any case, the board is not concerned about whether it is your dream or not. It's more concerned about whether you are really committed to the process or not, and you have the basics in place that is required for you to become the leader of sort this civil services demands. So my suggestion to you is avoid these type of answers. It's a very boring answer. Maybe the board will not deduct marks, but the board will not be inspired if you give this answer. I always tell my students that 30-40 minutes you spend and the questions that are asked to you in the interview board, every question is a potential one to catapult you into the final ranks. Every question has the potential to give you the marks required to qualify. Don't waste any question. And a question like why IAS is actually an open palette. It's up to you what you want to do. Why IAS is an open canvas. It's up to you what you want to paint. And paint it with lot of thought, lot of sincerity. It's not wrong if you spend hours and hours together trying to reframe and rephrase and perfect the exact words you want to use. And the more you practice it, the more you'll convince yourself also. There's the power of positive thinking, the power of practice. So it's not a question to be trivialized. Don't dismiss the question as childhood dream and you want to serve the country. Rather than talking about only in terms of words, practice that and convince yourself. एक कहानी था जिसका शीर्षक था सदा सत्य बोलो. I remember in school we had a chapter on the lesson that Yudhishthir and the Pandavas were taught on always say the truth. And Yudhishthir took lot of time because he was practicing the idea called always be honest, sada satya bolo. So it's not about that words, it's about the sincerity you bring into those words that will convince the board about your ability to lead the nation and to lead the district in the role that you are assigned under civil services. So practice this well. Talk about the pith, the crux, and say it with confidence, which means you have to say this repeatedly to yourself. You must repeat it to yourself and convincingly so till the person standing or sitting in front of you is convinced, yes, this answer looks very, very authentic, very, very original and very, very honest. Now you have to practice the honesty part, not the words that you will say alone. You must practice the sincerity part and not simply those key words about what inspires you to become an IAS officer. More on this when you join us for a one-to-one session live where weekly 2 to 3 hours, I along with my colleagues will spend time with you discussing on 30, 40, 50 topics where we will train you on how you can discuss, how you can prepare. So keep looking at this YouTube space for an exclusive interview guidance program from Edukemy with me helming the entire process of training you. Looking forward to seeing you all.